Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 72 of the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2019. It's so good to have you with me today. Thank you for coming, and today's tangle is Good Joss by Patty Mercer, CZT. She's in North Carolina, I think. And she says good Joss is a saying that she learned that means good luck. And she says she learned that in the Orient. So not sure where the origins of that are, but sounds good. So this is a grid-based tangle, and it starts, well, let me show you how it starts. I'm going to do the single square thing. If I can make this square-like. And then we'll do a little grid work, okay? So it starts with a square, and you're going to want to divide your square with an X. Simple enough, right? Now, this next part is can be a little confusing. She has you adding little dots, bisecting each of these lines at the midpoint. That is the easiest way for me to tell you how to arrange these, is to find the middle of each line and put your dots there. Okay? Now start with one of your corners, and you're going to want to connect these three dots with little sort of rainbow shapes, little C shapes. Okay? Then you're going to repeat that on all of your corners. So just put these little C shapes in all the way around. Pretty, huh? Okay, the next step is to aura on the outside of this all the way around. And that's it. Now, for the embellishing. The embellishment possibilities are endless here. In her step out, she has your arid lines here blacked in, and that gives you this sort of a look. I don't know if it was Linda's example or one of Patty's examples that had the little insides fanned with these lines. I loved the way that looked, although this is a pretty sloppy version of that. She has examples where the shading is done differently in all of them. I love the little spiderweb pattern that it makes in the middle of these boxes when you put them together. So it's a really pretty pattern, and you can do all kinds of embellishing. I also, when I drew this one, I purposefully put a little curve in it because I wanted to see how this would look if I varied the lines, like in this box right here. And it handled it pretty well. As long as you're using the midpoints to aim for, you're going to be okay. And I also drew this one partly without dots because I wanted to, you know me, I wanted to see if I could do it. Patty has made the dots part of this pattern, and I have to say, in one of her examples, it's just so pretty when the dots line up between the squares. Again, this isn't a good example of that, but I also was curious if this would work without them. And as long as you are aiming for the midpoints of your lines, it turns out okay. So if you're not comfortable with that, please use the dots. And I intend to use the dots because that's part of the pattern. But I just, it was an exploration for me. So be sure that you check out some of her shading ideas and embellishing ideas on Tangle Patterns. It's really nice. I I don't want to get into the shading on this because it's going to be a mess, but probably when I shade in the pattern today, I will probably shade the little in-between points. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Here is the pattern. And let's find a spot for this little grid tangle. Good Joss. Somebody explain to me where that saying comes from. I would love to know. Okay, we need squares for this, so I think I'm going to work in this square here. Starting with my inner R's for separation. Yeah. And then I'm going to put in my grid. So I want my little squares to be about like this. Okay. And I'm going to add my X's. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other direction. Okay. Now I'm going to add my dots, and I'm going to be, what's the word I want to use? Intentional about them. So I'm not going to make them big, but I am going to be intentional about putting them in. Oops, that's a little far out. Cindy, just focus on the midpoints. And when I come to one like this, I'm going to go ahead and let it be on both sides. Oops. Oh, that one really got high up, didn't it? Put that down here. There's my opportunity for the day, guys. I'm so good at the opportunities. Which is awesome, isn't it? Think about it. I have continual opportunities presented every day for improvement. Awesome. Okay. Here. All right, now I'm going to start with the corners with my little semicircles or C's or whatever you want to call them. They are certainly C strokes. Forgot my dot on that one, didn't I? Just let the dots guide you and don't worry about the total effect until you're done. There's another one I forgot. Okay, need one there. This really is a pretty little pattern, isn't it? I am so grateful I am not having to choose all of these. I am so grateful that Liz Drake has done an amazing job for the last nearly 100 days choosing these patterns during the week. She has done an amazing job. I have loved our patterns. Even the ones I don't particularly care for are really nice. So I think on this, instead of putting the auras in, I'm going to go ahead and gently just make this top line thicker all the way around, because I am really having trouble with the aura lines today. So I think I'm going to approach it this way, just by blacking this a little extra. And I've basically done the same thing by approaching it this way. I like it. There we go. Okay, so that's the basic thing. Now I'm wondering if I want to add these little fan lines, or if I want to leave it like this, because I love the effect that the negative space has. And if I put shading in here in all these little web shapes, if I put graphite in there, that'll pop these clean ones out a little bit more, and we've got more of the shape there. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Just add a tiny bit of graphite in here in the web section. This is actually a little bit more than a tiny bit, but I really want to knock this back. It will accentuate the other pattern, and we'll have something really nice here. All right. Wow, guys, this is so awesome. This is our pattern for today, which is Good Joss by Patty Mercer, CCT. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next installment of the 100 Days of Zentangle.